Meet Soho, a mobile security robot for small and medium-sized businesses. Soho gives you eyes in more places so you have fewer blind spots. With a Soho Secure subscription, you can assign Soho to patrol areas with valuable assets and set boundaries where you don't want Soho to go to protect your privacy. You can control Soho remotely to check in on any area of your business. And since Soho works autonomously, it can alert you to possible intruders, or in this case, a delivery person. You can communicate using visual ID on Astro. Soho works with Ring Alarm and cameras to help protect your business. So when you're away, Soho can respond to triggered Ring sensors to investigate with support from a Ring virtual security guard at the ready when you aren't. Soho's coverage, customization, and visibility gives business owners more peace of mind. This is Teachable Moments with April podcast. I am your host, April. If you're a returning listener, I appreciate you and welcome back. If you're a new listener, welcome and thank you. To everyone listening, remember, teachable moments are all around us. Enjoy. This episode is from Gems of Wisdom from Black Leaders of New Thought by Unity Ministries. Devotional number 3, Who Shaped My Spiritual Walk by Reverend Charlene Manuel. In the 1980s, my spiritual walk took a long turn toward greater interest and desire to experience life more deeply. I had access to some of the legendary African American ministers in Unity from my earliest days. By attending Westside Unity Church in Detroit and going to a new retreats, a few of them at Unity Village, then later taking Unity courses and eventually entering ministerial school, I learned from all of them. Let's look at Reverend Ruth Mosley. It is one thing to read from the Bible that with God all things are possible, Matthew 19:26. However, to see it in living action is powerful. As a congregant, I watched Reverend Ruth Mosley at Westside Unity persist in faith until she gave birth to the Unity Urban Ministerial School in Detroit, and I witnessed what with God all things are possible looks like in real time. Reverend Sally Taylor. One of my first retreats at Unity Village, she was a petite woman full of energy, fire, and power, and took the stage. Her down-to-earth style and message resonated. If it ain't one thing, it's another. She shared that as a minister, she did not give her telephone number to congregants. She told them, if you need help, don't call me. You need to talk to God within. It was an empowering revelation, and I will always think of Sally Taylor as boldly and courageously authentic. Then next, there's Reverend Maurice Williams. I first heard him speak at a Unity Village retreat. He gave me his card and invited me to come to his church the next time I was in Kansas City. Neither of us knew that 8 months later I would move there. He hired me as the administrative assistant at Unity Southeast Church. It was my first real exposure to the world of church behind the scenes, an education that was proven invaluable. Inspiring many, Maurice Williams prayed at the beginning of every message. Have thy way in me, Lord. Have thy way in me. Have thy way in my thoughts, feelings, actions, and decisions. Have thy way in me, Lord. Have thy way in me. Next is Reverend Sylvia Sumter. Wanting to continue my personal growth, I took my first Unity credit class in a program called Spiritual Education and Enrichment. My communications instructor was the only African American instructor on staff at that time. I gave my first talk in her class with both hands in my pockets, and Sylvia Sumter gave me valuable feedback. Take your hands out of your pockets and set yourself free. I am grateful for her words. Next up, Reverend Richard Byrd. I heard him sing at the Unity Village Chapel on the grounds of Unity Village. A deep and moving voice flowed from his tall, dark, and handsome man. He sang that day, "His eye is on the sparrow." Richard Byrd stirred many souls with his music, but it was years later that I learned of his unique view of the Unity teachings through the lens of African-centered principles. I continue to admire him from finding a unique approach to teaching truth. Next, we look at Reverend Ron Coleman. He took 3 of us to a soul food restaurant for breakfast. We were in the ministerial school, Jim Lee, James Trapp, and me. He spoke candidly about ministry. It can't be difficult. It can be very difficult at times. But he said if we were committed to the principles, there would be no greater calling we could accept. It was years later that I called Ron Coleman for counsel when I was challenged with an issue in my own ministry. He reminded me that ministry could be tough, but it is so worth it. Next up is Reverend Argentina Glasgow. I was in the ministerial program, and she was on the board of the Association of Unity Churches and was on the Unity campus for meetings. Now, when we met, she invited me to dinner. Afterwards, she stopped at a gift shop to buy gifts for her grandchildren. A pair of earrings caught my eye, and she asked, "Do you like those?" "Yes," I said as I put them back. She purchased them for me. When I asked her why, she said, "I love to give." Argentina Glasgow was a living example of generosity. This is just a small sample of how African American ministers touched my life and shaped who I am and why I continue to grow and serve in unity. You were just listening to Teachable Moments with April podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I invite you to connect with us on our social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. I also encourage you to become a paid subscriber in order to gain access to subscriber-only exclusive episodes and content. As always, be well and stay blessed. Until next time.